Everyone, welcome to Bosses in Action. I know you know Renee because she's all over Follow Up Boss and a few live events as well. She's amazing. Not only is she an amazing human being, has a great team, husband, children. She's also a badass Follow Up Boss user. So that's why we have her here. And for those of you who don't know Trenton Bodine's been with me now for almost 6 months or so, working as my director of technology for Tristan & Associates. So he's the one that's fidgeting and making the back end of Follow Up Boss work even better. So Renee, welcome.
Well, thank you, Tristan. Great to meet you, Trenton.
As well. Excited to hear some of these things you got going on.
Yes.
I'm super fired up, and you all know, and those of you watching, I talk a lot about the 36 touch plan and leveraging Follow Up Boss to continue to grow and evolve your SOI. And Tristan, when I was thinking about our time together, I had a thought, and that thought led to some notes. So y'all be ready, because we're going to take a little bit of maybe a little pivot, still talking about SOI, but y'all, I brought 3 pages of notes of some things that are on my mind and that we're doing differently at the Funk Collection over the last 2 to 3 months.
All right. You know what? That's actually beautiful. Let's go there, because the one thing sometimes we miss, because we like to stay on topic, and that's not always great, is what are we doing now?
Yes.
And what are we looking forward to in this transition? So take it away. Tell me where your mind is at, Renee.
So for those of you who haven't heard me share before about the 36 touch plan, you can go to the Follow Up Boss Success Community and Facebook group, and you can search my name or 36 touch plan, and you're going to see videos and the plan, and I'll even repost it, right? It's a tried and true foundational 36 touches for your SOI, your repeat business, your previous customers, your referral partners. Love on them, touch on them. And yet, here's what I find really interesting. I've even shared the action plan in Follow Up Boss for probably about 2 years now. So you can go and search the action plan library, and you can see Renee Funk's ultimate post-close action plan. You all already have access to it. You know what one of the number one questions I receive from Follow Up Boss users is?
What?
I know you shared that action plan, but I'm not using it yet. Or I turned it on and I'm not making my calls to my SOI. I want to build my SOI. What's the disconnect? And I think that's really interesting. So I started thinking about, for us to talk today about the sphere of influence, slow it down assessment, and some valuable questions we can ask ourselves to do a reset as to perhaps what's holding us back from leaning into our SOI. But we love paying those portals, big bucks for those leads, right?
Don't remind some of us, Renee.
Yeah, no. How about we love on and nurture our people? Okay. So question number 1, if you came here to think you're just going to listen passively, you're not. You need to have pen and paper, because we're going to do some work. We're rolling up our sleeves today. Question number 1, would I like more business from my sphere of influence and previous customers?
I think that's a resounding yes. Everyone just type it in. Yes. I hope there's no no's. And if there are no's, you're probably just joking. But yes.
Yes. Very good. I see Jennifer says yes. Sarah says yes. Yes. Okay. Next question. Of the business that I earned in the last 12 months from my SOI and previous customer database, what did I invest to receive that business? Let's go a little bit deeper with that question. In the last 12 months, how many hours each week did I invest in my SOI and previous customer database? How many hours each week, each month, each quarter?
That's a harder question to answer for a lot of people, because what I know is that it's not always tracked, right? And there's no set time to do that. So I see where you're getting at. I love that question.
So that's great, Tristan. You're saying, well, what if one of the people watching says, but I don't know how to track that? Okay, everybody, we are in the Follow Up Boss Success community. So I'm going to nudge you along to say, if we're not tracking it, We're just guessing. We all need to track and measure it to understand where our results are coming from. So that's okay. Let's just start there. If you're not yet tracking it, you should be. Yeah. So make sure you have your sphere of influence set up in Follow a Boss to be identified as the source is correct, because every one of us has the tools and resources to go into Follow a Boss right now and know, here's all my SOI transactions. Here's the number of things I did when I was loving on that part of my database.
Good. I like that.
Okay, so and it's okay, because I too didn't used to track it. And then when you become more aware and you ask yourself these questions, you can become more intentional about how you love on your people. So next question, of the hours I invested, and be real, y'all, because it's okay. You might have answered that question and said, I don't even think I invested an hour a week. I poured a lot into those portal leads, or I poured a lot into other sources. But if I'm being real with myself, I don't think I invested even an hour a week in my SOI and previous customer database. Get real. It's okay. That's a part of the SOI slowdown assessment. So of the hours I invested, what would I like to change about the results?
That's a good one.
You're getting clarity here.
Getting there.
I like that.
Next question. Should I have made more calls or outreach if the results of the last 12 months were not where they should have been or I wanted them to be? Now, I promise we're getting somewhere. We're getting closer. We're going to land the plane here in this self-discovery. How is fear playing a part or driving the bus if I haven't invested enough time to make calls or outreach to my SOI and previous customers?
I would say, if you're truthful with yourself, 100%.
And why is that, Tristan?
Well, I mean, geez, I'm telling you, for personal experience, because I still go through this, Renee. And I love our conversations because they're so true. It's like so bare. When I haven't talked to, let's say, one or two of my past clients, and it's been like 2 years, I feel super guilty, and I'm scared that they're going to be like, well, you know what? We relisted with somebody, we bought something else with somebody, we referred somebody because you didn't reach out to us. And I have that fear. It's like, I don't want that to be thrown in my face and said, oh, you sucked at it and you didn't follow up. And now look at it. So yeah, that's why fear's real.
Anyone else share that sentiment with Tristan? James says, that's me. If you feel that, that's normal. Tristan, how long have you been in the real estate industry?
Heading on 20 years.
There you go. So you are a veteran. Congrats, you're old.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I've been licensed 10 years. I'm not quite that old, but I am getting older. And what I would say is I too have had that fear. I literally right now have someone, over the last 7 days, I have apprehension to call that's in my SOI database. And it's because I haven't called in my definition of what I feel is an appropriate amount of time. So anyone on this call, what I want you to acknowledge is we could talk about the action plan that's in Follow a Boss. It's there. You got it. We can talk about the 36 touch plan. It's all over. If you don't have it yet, we'll share it with you. We need to slow down and figure out, why do we choose to pay all of this money for leads when we have people that love us, know us, like us, trust us?
Yeah, that's so
and
true.
It's fear. So let's talk a little bit about those calls. What is the desired outcome, Tristan? You mentioned you may have a customer or two that you want to call, right? You have some apprehension. What's the desired outcome of you making that call? Get over your fear, make the call. What's the desired outcome?
Desired outcome, the first thing I think of is, well, I want to build this relationship strong enough so that they can refer business to me. long term, right? And they can feel like I value them. And I fear, now that I'm talking this with you, I feel and fear that because I didn't reach out for 2 years, they're going to feel like they weren't valued enough and there's no relationship there, right?
Interesting. Okay. So could it be possible that that fear is also rooted in that you feel like you're calling because you want to ask them for a transaction?
In some cases, yeah, I would say if I'm on autopilot, that's just so burnt into me for so many years that if I don't consciously pick up the phone and say, I have an event or I have something to give or some value, I'm just going to go right into it and be like, hey, I'm touching base and how's business? How's your house? And it's like, that's the most terrible call ever. And then I feel even worse.
So just imagine if we change the narrative and we change what is the true desired outcome to that call, Tristan.
Yeah, I mean, you start building real relationships.
If you and myself and everyone on this call makes a pact that when we're calling our SOI and we're calling our previous customer database or anybody that we're really wanting to re-engage with, that we were in contact with, and we feel that weird thing that's apprehension to not call, what if we obliterate our mindset over it and just say, well, what's my desired outcome? My desired outcome is to call and come from contribution and have nothing to do with asking anything about real estate. Don't do that thing. And I know, Tristan, this isn't you, but somewhere in the real estate industry, we all decided as an industry, we should call and go, who do you know who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Have you done that before?
I had to. I was part of the same class.
I did. That is an awful question.
Terrible.
Throw it away. Like, write it down, get a piece of paper, then tear it up. Could we get that out of our mind? Most of us are living in fear because we feel like we need to have a desired outcome on the call that we have to ask that question. Never ask that question again.
You know what? I've never had anybody tell me that, Renee, which is write it out and tear it up.
Yep.
I love that. That's a really good action.
Get it out of here. Get it out of here.
Do exactly what Renee just said. I love that.
So we're all afraid. We're living with some part of fear about what we're going to do when we call the people who already know, like, and trust us. And it's because we're confused about our desired outcome. If we just call up to connect, to reconnect, we're not following up, we're not touching base, we're not doing any of that. We are calling to connect or reconnect. And the only desired outcome is to make that connection. It obliterates the fear. Now, if we talk a little bit about as we wrap that call, so you're going to call, you're going to say, hello, Tristan, how are you? Gosh, it's been too long. I see James in chat said, maybe we call and open up with an apology. You could do that if you truly have something to apologize for. I'm of the thought process that we don't have to apologize if the only thing that we feel compelled to apologize is that the gap is longer than we perceive it should have been. I don't have anything to apologize for. And yet acknowledging it is a different approach. So, hey, Tristan, it's Renee. It has been too long. How are things?
Great. That's beautiful. I'd be like, oh, you'd make me feel good because I probably feel the same. Oh, yeah, Renee, then I'm going to apologize. I'm going to be like, yeah, I should have called you. It's been a while.
It's been a while, right? I'm wanting to be more intentional because it's been so long. Let's reconnect. How are you? How are the kids? How are the dogs? Maybe you do a little, stalking on social media, see how they're doing. Were there any major life changes? Get over your fear of calling this person by saying, like, oh, look, they got a new puppy. Hey, full disclosure, I stalked you on social media. I see about that cute puppy. How's the puppy? How's the puppy life? You sleeping much?
Yeah.
Now, am I calling to say, hey, who do you know who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Heck no. That's why I would have been nervous to call. But if I'm calling to just know that my desired outcome is to connect or reconnect, everything good happens from that place.
That's so true. Such a good point. I think remove that. Interesting. You just simplified it, Renee, which is you made it easier for me to pick up the phone and just connect. It's like, I just want to connect and reconnect. I have no agenda to get business, to do anything. I'm just setting this up to build or rebuild this relationship.
That's right. So now let's talk in that call, though. We should be intentional. And there's something that I like to refer to as a subtle mention. Now, we're real estate agents. We're salespeople. Those sales that we can potentially earn are all rooted by amazing relationships. If we don't want to feel salesy and we don't want to have that fear drive up into us again, just do a subtle mention. You know, Tristan, I was driving through the neighborhood yesterday and I thought of you. Gosh, I was on my way to a showing, and that's what actually prompted my call. As I drove down Main Street, I thought it's been too long since Tristan and I connected. I was on a way to a showing, thought we would connect. So you're reintroducing the fact, hey, Renee's still in real estate. You might even say, oh my gosh, I was on this amazing Zoom with some fellow real estate agents, and we were talking about who haven't we spoke to in a while? And you're the first person I thought of. Gosh, why have we let it go so long? So subtle mentions of your industry and how you're in action, bosses in action, in real estate as a professional in their neighborhood, driving down their street, is all you need to do for this call.
Yeah. I like the simplification and the clarity you're creating.
We're all tripped up in fear. Let's just say it. We are, because we're fear of rejection. And that is one of the reasons why it is much easier to take some stranger online, because if they reject us, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
But if we look at our database of previous customers in SOI and we call them and they don't answer, or they have something like, what the heck, where have you been? Which they're not going to do. That hurts more.
Yeah.
So why don't we just not try to sell them?
Yeah. Good one.
Jennifer, I see your question about what if you don't know them, but they are in your database. I'm going to touch base on that. Don't worry about that. We're going to touch on that. So subtle mention we talked about. Now, getting your affairs in order is how I like to think about. After you have general niceties, you connect or reconnect, you're going to do a subtle mention as to the fact that you're a professional real estate agent in action in their town, in their neighborhood, on their street, something that mentions that's going to rekindle it. Now you got to get your affairs in order. Yeah. And by getting your affairs in order is what I like to think of how we wrap the call and make sure, do you have your core 4 marketing gold data points? Number 1, you have their name. Follow-up boss is going to have their name in there. You call them. They're your SOI. That's one of them. Name. Phone number. You had that because you called them. Best email address. You may not have that yet. Or maybe you want to reconfirm it. Not, can I have your email address? It's, may I have the best email address for you these days? Okay, that's a third.
I like that.
4th is, Tristan, I'm cleaning up my contact information and I have a little something I want to mail you. What's your mailing address?
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
I have a little something I want to send to you.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So over the years, working with real estate agents, one of the biggest things I've noticed is every agent is so darn afraid to ask for their mailing address. I don't understand. If we change our tone of voice and just say, hey, Tristan, I have a little something I want to mail to you. Can I get your mailing address?
Easy.
They never, ever say no. They always go, yeah, sure. Now, I bet you're wondering, what do I send them?
Yeah, what do you send them?
I send them an AM card.
Oh, nice. Just like your last video. Oh, by the way, I blinked the last video on there.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Send them an AM card. Send them a note card. Send them something, right? I love AM cards and brownies. It's an easy couple clicks and the integration with Follow Up Boss. Boom, boom, happy, happy. Most end up on social media. You sent them something. My question to all agents out there, even when you send AM cards brownies, which cost $14.99, is $14.99 worth an investment to get Core 4 marketing gold so you can now become intentional with your 36 touch plan and love on them across every platform and medium?
100%. Because look, we're spending way more than that on other things that just have no intent behind it. So this is beautiful. Corinne, what card is the question? Renee, I'll let you answer.
AM card. So Follow Up Boss users, there's an integration for AM cards. AM stands for Appreciation Marketing. It's who I use for all my note cards because it's simple, it's powerful. Most of the cards I send end up on social media or at least receiving a text or a callback. We love it. It's easy. You can send a general note card, I think, for a couple bucks. I like doing the brownies. It's $14.99. They get a nice little box of yummy brownies and they feel special.
Yeah.
So what I wrote down next is, now with that information, let's be intentional. Slow it down. And I think a couple of you may realize, oh, maybe I didn't really put that many hours. Maybe I didn't really put that much over the last 12 months to love on my people. We have the systems in Follow Up Boss. We have the action plans. It's there. We have it all. But if we don't have the data to love on them, it all starts with, let's slow down and say, how do I get that information and how do I get over my fear to make more calls to the people who already know me, love me, and only want to work with me?
Yeah. That's the key, which by the way answers the other question earlier on, which was James. James, you have a great question. This has happened to me too. And what if a client ghosts you after the sale? Move on. They don't want to work with you, then don't work with them. Don't force it. Right? Great question, by the way, because we've all had it.
Let's talk about, we had a question about what if they're in your database, but you don't really know them, or maybe it's a re-engage. I'll share 2 scripts, and it's really just a sentence-ish question that we're using on the Funk Collection over the last 3 months, okay? So the first thing that I'm going to share, I don't like the word script, but it's a script, if you will, is we have a number of customers we've carved out in our database right now that it's a seller pond, but it's a very intentional seller pond. There's a number of sellers who raised their hand last year in 2022. We were running around with our hair on fire. They said they want to sell. We didn't get to them fast enough. We realized here we are, it's 2023, and I think there were like 800 seller leads in our pond.
Wow.
So we had our VA go through that 800 because we don't want to spend every ounce of calling all 800. Look through and see, did they list and sell the property? That's the first thing. We whittled the list down again, right? Then we said, of those seller leads, who has name, phone number, email, and mailing address, who's receiving our postcards on a regular basis, who has that affinity for our brand in some way. We narrowed that list down to about 125. Okay?
Yeah.
We went through that and are still going through those to call and say this. Hey, Tristan, you previously inquired about potentially listing and selling your property at 123 Banana Street. Did you ever make that transaction?
No.
So tell me, what's changed over the last 3 months?
We have nowhere to move to. We still want to.
Still want to sell. Fantastic. So what was prompting the move?
Family, small home, bigger family. So we still want to. We just don't know how to do it.
You need more space.
Yeah.
How much space do you have in the current property?
1,200 square feet, and we're looking at doubling it.
2,400 square feet. How many bedrooms are ideal?
Definitely more than 3. So 4, preferably maybe 4 with an office or just a bigger extra room.
Perfect. So tell me how you would use 4 with an office. Do you need 4 bedrooms that you'll have people actually living in, or do you have guests coming? Tell me a little bit about how you use the 4 bedrooms.
Definitely 4 occupied by people. And then the office space is more like a place where we can all hang and use kind of like a playroom, or uh, just a place where we play board games, or when I invite Trenton over and we play Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that.
I love that. I love that. So could it be possible that there are homes available that haven't crossed your desk yet that we could show you?
Yeah, honestly, we stopped looking after the prices didn't drop, the interest rates went up. So we're like, this is just not for us right now.
So how does it look over the next 7 to 14 days to connect on a Zoom or in person and review some of the homes that are available right now that would give you that 4 bedrooms with an office and the place for you to play Dungeons and Dragons with Trenton?
If it's possible, I'd like to know more about it.
All right. We just secured an appointment. Now that we could go deeper and deeper and deeper, I'm big about doing discovery based on lifestyle. I believe that we represent buyers and sellers who are seeking to achieve a lifestyle that just so happens to be within the confines of a brick and mortar property, right? But it's about the lifestyle. So if we dig in and we go really, really focus of how they live in a space, what they don't care for about the current space, and compare that to what they can achieve in the next space, there's some real gold there. But it all started with that one question that you previously made an inquiry about listing and selling your property on 123 Banana Street. Did you ever make that transaction?
So easy. That's an easy question. I love it.
It's one of the greatest filtration questions. They say yes or no. I think sometimes we as agents are afraid to ask close-ended questions. Oh no, what if it just forces them to say yes or no? Sometimes we need to do that because we need to get through that database. Here's one.
Questions in that lifestyle perspective, because you're so often used to just saying how many bedrooms, bathrooms. Oh, great. What are you looking for here? Do you need a basement? Instead of actually talking to them of what they're looking for to, like you said, the lifestyle part of that. I think that's great. And then it also allows you to build that conversation and engagement with just beyond yes or no quick answers.
Some of my favorite questions are about when you come home on Friday evening after 5, 6 o'clock, what's one of your favorite things to do Friday evening when you're unwinding? How does Sunday midday look for you and your family? What's one of your favorite things to do Sunday midday?
I think that's great. Because then you're figuring out, what are they doing on the weekends? Are they close to what they want to do? They like to go on the for hikes or walks. And it's like, well, are they close to a park or a lake where they can walk around? I think that's great.
We as real estate agents, we feel that urge to go right into the bedrooms, baths, what's the square footage. All of that's important, but that's just a couple data points. If we peel those layers back, we're going to get the real, true goal that we can then help serve them. And what I love about going deeper is then it helps us find the things they don't know exist. Because when they're looking, think about that. When anybody's looking online, they can plug into any site. 4 bedrooms, 3-car garage, and that's just some cute computer spitting out the data.
True.
But what can that computer not spit out? What they like to do Sunday midday.
Or Friday afternoon after they come home from work. What a great point. Question from Corinne. Are you setting appointments to go over listings, or do you have them automatically sent?
So a part of our 36 touch plan is they're getting 1 monthly update for home values in their neighborhood. And if they're a potential buyer in the funnel and in the pipeline, they're getting daily updates for their preferred search criteria. That's daily.
Okay.
Now, Corinne, your question is, are you setting appointments? We're always setting appointments. That's one of our biggest jobs. At the end of every call, we should be securing the commitment between both parties, yourself as an agent and whomever's on the other side of the line, the next commitment to be in communication with one another. every call should end with when you're going to connect or reconnect again. Even if it's, does it make sense to touch base in Q3? Fantastic, morning or afternoon. All right, let's take a look at.
Do you do that before having a prequel or after? It's a great question.
Do we do that before having a prequel? The next commitment? Oh,
Yeah.
we're always, absolutely. Absolutely. Pre-qualification is just one little thing that we need to say. So let's get you connected with the lender so you can start a conversation with the lender. That is absolutely no way going to inhibit me from being in dialogue with any human, because we're here to earn relationships. And it doesn't matter with me if they want to buy or trade a property today or 6 years down the road. And if I don't have that next call, regardless of whether or not I know they have the piece of paper, I'm going to miss an opportunity.
Yeah, and that's a good way of looking at it. A lot of us miss opportunities because we think we need to have something in place before we get there. But that's not their reality, right? You haven't earned it yet a lot of the times.
Yeah. Especially in this more normalizing market.
Yeah.
I understand why there were some hard lines agents probably took 3, 6, 8 months ago that they wouldn't be out in the car without someone, because the reality is if they hadn't been pre-qualified, they were going to lose the house when we were writing offers at the end of the driveway after they did a showing. I understand that. But in this more normalizing market, my opinion is we lead with relationship earning. I want to touch on when we're here to talk about SOI, and I know that we squirreled a little bit. It happens because we had a question about a customer in a database that we may not know very well yet. I want to go back to SOI, and I want to talk about one of the most powerful questions that we've been asking our previous customers and our SOI. If we know that they purchased a home from 2020 to date, anything like around that 2020 pandemic mark, one of the most powerful questions we're asking is, hey, Tristan, you purchased a home. It was around spring 2021, correct?
Yeah.
How's that home performing for you and your family?
I feel like we were rushed into buying it, so there wasn't a lot out there. And I wish we would have just purchased something a little bit bigger.
And how would you have utilized a little bit more square footage more appropriately for your family?
Well, we had to sacrifice taking a 3-bedroom, and so putting the kids in one, right? And so we really wanted to give them each their own room because it's a boy and a girl, right? And they're a little older, so definitely them. And I need to have an office because I work for NASA, and now I'm out virtually, so I need to have that room, and kids can't be walking in. So
if I could show you some opportunities of homes that would give you that additional square footage and the rooms you needed, would you be open-minded to connect and review some of the opportunities?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I just got a raise too, so let's do this.
How easy was that, y'all?
Easy.
You purchased a home in. How is that home performing for you? Your SOI, your previous customers, your neighbors, friends at your kiddos' schools. If you know any human that purchased a home over the last 3 years, that question has been gold for us. They might say, I love the home. Fantastic. What are the top 3 things you love about that home? I'm in your neighborhood often. We represent a lot of sales down 123 Banana Street area. Mm-hmm. And I always love hearing feedback from current neighbors so that I know what are some of the attributes of that neighborhood and those homes that are serving you at a high level.
Like, your questions are really thought out. I love that, Renee. I'm going to have to send this recording to my team. Be like, just do it, Renee. Just ask the questions Renee is asking. Trenton, these are good questions, man.
I got my notes.
Your whole team. I'm just saying, but your whole team needs to watch it in the Follow Up Boss Success community.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's tag them all in this replay. Just saying.
You should do it. Renee, you should do it. I don't know if you've done it or not, but you should do a whole session on this on the next Follow Up Boss live event. When's the next live event?
Let us know. Aubrey says September 24th.
Oh, okay. So that must be the big one in LA. Okay, so there are no small ones up until the big one. So I would love to hear a session from you on that. Like, I want to know like these, because I think these questions and digging in a little deeper, kind of showing the process.
Yeah.
I think that really can help out the people that are stuck in any one of those places, and they get stuck. I watch some of my agents get stuck in between, right? So I like how you make it more natural and you dig out things that aren't normally available when we get them as an online lead and we don't ask these questions. So great one.
Well, I would be happy to do that. Just throw your votes in. We need to hear Renee share the question trees.
I'll throw my vote in right now to Ricardo.
There you go. Ricardo, Follow Up Boss family. We need Renee to share. So here's the thing is, we came to talk about SOI. And again, it's all the plans and the roadmaps. They're all there. My hope for us all is that we start to dig deep into ourselves and maybe our own drunk monkeys that are on our shoulders that we all have. Because Tristan, I said, I have someone right now on my list, 7 days that I need to call, that I have some apprehension. And so sometimes I need someone to wet noodle me and go, what are you doing? You're not calling to ask them for a deal. You're calling to reconnect.
Yeah.
Slow it down and let's start getting very intentional with ourselves to say, where are my current relationships that hold untapped opportunities? And then this is another piece of homework for everybody.
I'm ready.
Okay? Over the next 14 days, I want you all to be thinking about what are the 3 most critical conversations I need to be having in my business, and yet I'm not. And why?
Can you repeat the question?
What are the 3 most critical conversations I need to be having in my business, and yet I'm not, and why? Slow it down. Think about all the questions that we ask together on this call, going back to, would I like to have more business from my SOI and previous customer database? Or would I like to pay more money to the portal leads? It's okay. Either way. I don't know about you, but I like that business that they just call us, right?
I love attraction marketing, right? It's much better. Much better. Oh, then
homework 14 days. 14 days. 3 critical conversations I need to be having in my business, and yet I'm not. And why?
I love that. That's good. This was good, Trenton.
Great.
All right.
We're all going to commit to knock that drunk monkey off our shoulder, make the calls. And if we ever need a drunk monkey person to come along and say, get it off your shoulder, reach out to me, reach out to Trenton, reach out to Tristan. Like, hey, we can all support each other.
Renee, where should we follow you? Instagram, Facebook?
Instagram. At Renee_Funk. And you want to know a little sneak peek? Yes. Oh my gosh, Jeff's going to strangle me. So I quietly launched a new website. It's just a beta, but I'm going to share it. Jeff's going to say, I can't believe you're going to tell him. ReneeFunk.com.
Okay.
So some of these workshops and some of these question trees I'm going to be sharing more about. But yes, if Follow Up Boss will have me, I will also share at Follow Up Boss. Look at that.
Well, this is cool.
It's coming. It's not perfect, but we're getting closer.
This is so good. Good job. And then subscribe to your newsletter. I like it.
There you go. Now the pressure's on.
Thanks for doing this.
So we're all committed, right? No drunk monkeys on our shoulder about calling our SOI.
I knocked mine out about 2 minutes ago, so we're good.
Good. Let's do it.
I'll wet noodle myself and knock out the drunk monkey. No problem.
We can get it all done. I adore you. We have the best conversations. I need a little more Tristan in my world.
I really do. Every time I talk to you, I think we need a podcast. We just need a podcast. We need a podcast. We need to do something that's routine, because when you and I get together, for some reason, I feel a lot more open And it's like, I just want to just let it, I want to talk real talk with people. It's like, this is a hard business and it's about to get harder for a lot of people. So I love our conversations, Renee.
I adore it as well. I think last time we came up with a podcast name, and it's probably in my book of notes from...
Alberry has it. I'm pretty sure Alberry has it. Alberry, can you nudge us, please, if you remember it?
Nudge us. And if anybody wants to see the Tristan and Renee Funk podcast, I guess maybe we could let the viewers decide, Tristan.
Yeah, I love that. That would be fun. That would be a very fun one. Yeah.
Trenton, it was wonderful to meet you.
Yeah. Can you please share the name of the FUB action plan again?
I sure can. When you go into Follow Up Boss and you search the library of action plans, it's called Renee Funk's Ultimate Past Client Checklist. Now, here's the deal. It is literally appropriate for anyone in your SOI. I even have some amazing referral partners on this action plan. It's 36 touches each year. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. James says it's under closings in the library. There you go.
Perfect.
And
there you go.
And if you ever need more, or if you want more training on it in more depth of the 36 touch plan, just go to the Follow Up Boss Success community on Facebook, search it up. It's there.
Yep. It's already there. James says he stole it already. Good for you.
Good, James. I love it. Let's rock it out.
Renee.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Trenton, see you playing Dungeons and Dragons later.